stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. The field's alive with endless dreams. We're more than stats, we're the in-between. A slam dunk thought, a touchdown mind. Out of the box every time. No limits, no chains, no walls to climb. We're rewriting the rules in real time. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. No limits, no chains, no walls to climb. We're rewriting the rules in real time. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way. Living loud, hearts in motion. Sports with soul, pure devotion. Every shot's a story, every cheer's a spark. Under the lights we make our mark. Beyond the scoreboard, beyond the lines. Out of the box, redefining the grind. The grind. Out of the box where the wild ones play, we see the game in a whole new way.
What's up, Raider Nation? The Bat Fry, Kenny Fry here. Raider Batman checking in after another disappointing weekend of football. And I'm here to tell you, hopefully it gets better. I don't know. We'll see. Today's show is brought to you by Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located on Cherry Hill, 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258, and he has 2 office locations located in Pennsylvania, one on the east side and one on the west side. On the east side of Pennsylvania, we got Philadelphia on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. Then his office located in the western side of Pennsylvania, there in Pittsburgh. The office is located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Be sure to let him know that Out of the Box Sports sent you, and he'll hook you up with a great deal. All right. I'm back. Let's talk about this disappointing Sunday afternoon, or I guess it'd be afternoon, early evening football game between the Raiders and the Bears. I mean, the Raiders did everything they could to give the Bears that game, and the Bears reluctantly, it appears, took it. You know, they're trying not to take it, but they took the game eventually. And a bummer. What a bummer. I just to see all the good that was being done in that game. The offensive line was looking much better. Not perfect, not great, much better. I would say they played good enough to win the game. Absolutely. Jackson Powers Johnson back in there at guard and right guard, and he played awesome. I thought he played very good. Jordan Meredith, he didn't play all that bad. I think the Ashton Genty fumble there in the first, it looked like it might have been a little bit of a miscue. I don't, what the hell do I know? I don't know for sure. But it just didn't look like the blocking was crisp up front. Obviously not, because by the time Genty actually touched the ball, he was getting destroyed in the backfield. That's what caused the fumble. So obviously there was some sort of miscommunication up front. But that after that, there wasn't much after that. Those sacks given up this week, A little bit of pressure on Gino, not a whole lot, so not nothing that he shouldn't be able to deal with, or any uh, capable quarterback in the NFL, starting quarterback in the NFL should be able to deal with it. It was, a little bit of pressure, move up in the pocket and just move around, and Gino did well there. Uh, he wasn't hit very often, but again, this wasn't the Los Angeles Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. This wasn't the Washington Commanders. This was the Bears, and the Raiders and the Bears appear to be on the same level here. I mean, I've heard a bunch of different podcast hosts talk about how bad the Bears are. The Bears are a bad team, and this is after we lost to them, and it's what does that say about us? What does that say about the Las Vegas Raiders? You're saying that the Bears just beat us 25-24. Doesn't matter how they did it. If anybody knows about uh, the old adage, a win's a win, is Raider Nation, right? Just win, baby. That's our moniker. That's what I say after each show I do. I say just win, baby, and it's our rallying cry that we have. So, and just win, baby doesn't it means several different things, but for the most part, to me, it means win any way possible, and a win's a win. Right? Whether it's by 1 point or by 30 points, it's a win. So the Bears just won 25-24, and still hear people saying about how bad the Bears are, and that makes us worse. And I don't feel like that we're a worse team than the Bears, but the scoreboard says otherwise. And now I do get it that it's any given weekend in the NFL, and anything can happen week after week. But yeah, the scoreboard doesn't lie, and it sucks. It really sucks ass. I can take losing to the Los Angeles Chargers. They are a good team. I can take losing to the Commanders, not the way we lost to them, but I can take losing to them. They're a good team. Both playoff teams, double digit win teams last season. But to the Bears, I'm telling you right now, the Bears are not better than the Raiders. The Bears are 100% not better than the Raiders. The scoreboard says they are, but they weren't. They weren't better than the Raiders. We gave them the game. Geno Smith gave them the game, and I don't know where you go with Geno. So many different fans calling for Geno's head. They want Geno benched. Um, but where do you go? I mean, you go Kenny Pickett. I mean, me being in Pennsylvania here, I got to see plenty of Kenny Pickett playing with Pittsburgh, and I'm a University of Pitt fan, so I seen Kenny Pickett flourish there. But it's a little bit different. The ACC is not the AFC. So seeing Kenny Pickett there in Pittsburgh, he had some bright spots, but he had a lot more. I feel like down spots and bright spots, and eventually his mouth got him shipped off to Philadelphia, and I think he got into one game there. He was just a backup, nothing big, and then shipped off to Cleveland, and ultimately in the offseason, or I guess in preseason, I think it was preseason, he got traded to the Raiders. So I don't think Kenny Pickett's a better quarterback than Geno. He does bring a different dynamic. I believe that, but I feel like when you shake it up and look at it, I feel like Kenny Pickett is not the better option, and so the rookie, I I'm trying to think of his name. I think it's Cole Miller. He's on the practice squad. He's not an option. He's not ready. And you have Aiden O'Connell, who's still hurt. We're still on IR. So got the cat here. The cat wants to be petted. Sorry, cat. You're gonna have to wait. So there's Geno's it. Barring injury, Geno's it. Pete's not gonna bench Geno. Geno's his boy. So let's just clear that out of our heads right now. The only way I feel like we see Kenny Pickett, Geno goes out there, shits the bed again first half against the Colts, and then I do believe we will probably see uh, Kenny Pickett in like a second half of the game or whatever. But that doesn't mean that Gino won't start the next week. That could be just like a wake up call. Or if Gino gets hurt, that's the only other way you see Kenny Pickett. But besides that, I don't see Pete Carroll going with Kenny Pickett at all. So barring those scenarios that I just laid out there. So let's look at a little bit more positive things. Ashton Genty back to his college stance. We've heard so much about, especially in the preseason training camps, OTAs type stuff, where they made him kind of uh, forget that style, kind of grow up. Oh, that's almost how it felt when we heard Chip Kelly. I guess Chip Kelly didn't talk about it, but it was out there in reports that Chip Kelly, was like, well, this is the NFL. We don't do that. Where Ashton Genty stands straight up and down like he's Michael Myers or whatever. It's just kind of it is kind of weird looking seeing it on the NFL field. But you know, Chip Kelly's mindset is, and explanation, rightfully so, is that you got to be in an athletic position or run ready position, and that's knees bent and ready to go. And he feels like, and it does make sense, that when you're standing straight up and down, you're not in that athletic position. You're just standing. You're not in an athletic position to spring left, right, straight, whatever. But it works for Ashton Genty. Whether it's a vision thing or not, it works for him. And so he went back to that stance in the backfield, and he ends up rushing for almost 140 yards. So I would assume that he'll be moving forward with that again. Busted off a nice 64-yard run for a touchdown. He had 2 touchdown receptions, finally getting the ball to him in the air. Even though it was only 2 times, it was still 2 touchdowns, only 2 targets. I'd like to see more, especially when you're struggling with the ball, throwing the ball downfield, throwing interceptions. Use your running backs, use your tight ends more. Use those underneath passes instead of trying to push it downfield. It seemed like Gino, almost all 3 of his touchdowns were in that that intermediate range. Like 10 to 20 yards downfield, I would say. So maybe dink and dunk a little bit. Start dink and dunk a little bit and get that rhythm back, and maybe draw the defense up a little bit, and maybe take those shots into the secondary where you're looking 10, 20 yards, 20 plus yards, and go from there. I mean, I could be way off on that. That's just, me as a casual, I wouldn't say casual fan. I just, as a normal fan, I don't like X's and O's. I don't really have that much of an interest in it. Like, if I can watch a football game, I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm seeing. I understand the schemes and stuff like that, but I don't deep dive into that stuff. I just, I don't know. It's hard for me to explain. I don't, oh, the safety dropped here, and the coverage was this, that, or whatever. That's not really my thing. So, I see it. All right, there's an interception. What happened? They show it again. Okay, obviously you see the safety took a step back. Gino's eyeballing Jacoby Myers. Well, the safety sees that, and safety starts kind of baiting Gino a little bit, baiting, and then he breaks on it. And you can see that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Kind of more of a layman's kind of guy. Just a normie. Uh, but yeah. So it's I think out of the 3 interceptions, I think one was actually a bad pass, just one. The other 2 were just thrown into terrible coverage. I'd be honest with you. It was I think I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was the first interception Gino threw was ended up I feel like it was the Jacoby. I'm not really sure. I don't remember correct 100%. But I think it ended up with 4 Bears around him. By the time it was all said and done, by the time the defender picked it off, and started running, you had 4 Bears in that area. It's kind of you're trying to squeeze the ball to somebody, and you look at it. Jacoby Myers, he ended up having 4 catches for 30 yards, 7 targets. Maybe we're targeting him too much. He hasn't had the production. No receiver really has had the production since week 1. And maybe we're just targeting him too much. Where's Dante Thornton Jr.? Jack Besh. Where maybe we should start looking at these guys, the rookies, a little bit more. Trey Tucker, he had that awesome game last week. His breakout game. 2 catches, 13 yards. We only targeted Trey Tucker twice. Why? Why are we only targeting Trey Tucker twice? That this is what supposed to get him more involved into the game. I can't imagine that the Bears took him away. Took him out of the game. I just can't imagine that that's what happened. Because if it is, that would have left somebody like Brock Bowers open more often. That would have left Jacoby Myers open more often. And it didn't look that way watching the game. But Brock Bowers, 5 catches, 46 yards, only 6 targets. Maybe we should be targeting Brock Bowers more. That catch rate is pretty good. 5 catches out of 6 targets. It's pretty good. Dante Thornton did have a pretty critical drop there. I think it was in third or fourth quarter. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was fourth quarter. It would have been I think it would have been inside the 5-yard line, maybe, and it was a low pass. You got to give it Gino a spank on the ass for that. It was a low pass. It was not a great pass, but it's something that a professional and NFL receiver needs to make that catch. It's a catch that an NFL receiver has to make. That part of the game, that part of the field, every part of that has to be caught. And Dante Thornton just didn't come up with it. And I would imagine the next time the rookie's in that position, I feel like he's probably going to make that catch. So, but didn't do it there, and it hurt. It hurt the Raiders there. So, I mean, who knows? Does he catch that? Does he get into the end zone? Maybe not. I'm trying to remember if that would have made it a first down. I don't remember exactly. I feel like it might have made it a first down. I don't think it was goal to go, but still, tough. Max Crosby had a heck of a game. Again, seems to do that week in and week out. 5 tackles, 5 solo tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 3 passes defensed. You say, hey, Ken, he's a defensive lineman. How does he get 3 passes defense? He blocked them, knocked him down at the line of scrimmage. He had an interception, via that route. He was able to tip the ball up in the air and pick it off. And I have to wonder, I've seen it a couple times. I have to wonder if that was part of the game plan going into this game, was maybe they seen something where Caleb Williams tends to keep the ball lower, a lower trajectory. I mean, I could be wrong with that. I don't know. That's just something I thought about, because a couple times you did see Max, go into a pass rush move and then back off and kind of just watch the quarterback waiting for that. Oh Lord, I'm sorry. Waiting for that pass, to tip it up or whatever, just reading Caleb Williams' eyes. And credit to the defense. They did a great job run defense, only holding the Bears to, I think it was 60 yards. 69 yards rushing on 26 carries. So great job there. Only 1 sack, but they held Caleb Williams to just a little over 200 yards passing. Did a good job there. Just came down to turnovers. You're looking at team stats here. First downs, the Raiders won that 17-16. Third down conversions, the Bears 7 out of 16. The Raiders were only 2 of 8. That's not good enough. Fourth down conversions, Bears were 1 for 1. The Raiders were 0 for 1. That was the Genty fumble, I believe. I believe that was a 4th and 1. And the shit got blown up. So that was ugly. It was so bad. Plays ran 62 for the Bears. Only 52 plays ran for the Raiders. You have to be in that 60, 70 range. And I don't think the Raiders have hit 70 plays ran yet this season. But they've, consistently week in and week out, but in the 60s, mid 60s. And that's where you want to be in the mid 60s, 70s. 70s is really where you want to be, but 60s is doable. But low 50s, nah, that's not good. Total yards, Raiders 357 to the Bears 271. Each team had a total of 11 drives. Yards per play, 4.2 for the Bears, 6.9 for the Raiders, almost 7 yards per play for the Raiders, and we still lose the game. Pass yards, 202 for the Bears, 117 pass yards for the Raiders. Not going to get it done. The Bears were 22 of 37. The Raiders 14 of 21. Completions to attempts. Rushing, the Bears 26 of 69 for 2.7 yards per carry. Great job by the Raider front there. Linebackers, I thought Devin White had another great game. He looked fast. He looked strong. Very good in the run defense. And the Raiders ran the ball 31 times for 240 yards. We had a Raheem Mostert sighting. His first game of the season was outstanding. 4 carries for 62 yards. Great job by Raheem Mostert. So I wouldn't expect to see Zamir White next week. I would imagine it'd be the trio of Genty, Mostert, and Dylan Labe, who I feel like has been doing a really good job returning kickoffs the last couple of weeks. So there's that. 7.7 yards per carry for the Raiders. Awesome. Red zone 1 for 4 for the Bears. Great job by the Raider defense. All those turnovers. I think that the 4 turnovers, the 3 interceptions, the 1 fumble. They only gave up 13 points off of those 4 turnovers. Outstanding. That's a great job because there's a short field a couple times. The first turnover I think led to a field goal. Second turnover was on the Raiders side of the field, deep in their zone. They're deep in their zone. I believe that yielded 0 points. And so great job there by the Raider defense. So 1 for 4 the Raiders offense, 2 of 3 in the red zone. Not too bad. Penalties, 8 for 60 yards for the Bears, 5 for 36 for the Raiders. Nicely done there. Turnovers, 4-1. So the Raiders were -3 in a turnover battle. That's terrible. And time of possession, 33 minutes and 10 seconds for the Bears, 26 minutes and 50 seconds for the Raiders. And it all comes down to those interceptions. That's what it is. That's what lost us the game. That's what lost the Las Vegas Raiders the game. That's the difference between 1-3 and looking like one of the worst teams in the league to 2-2 to maybe there's a little bit of life there. Like the Bears, they're 2-2 now. And even though they look like crap, they look terrible. There's people saying, they look a little bit of life there. Maybe, their new coach, who I can't think of his name right now. The Raiders are trying to get him. For some reason, it's escaping my mind. I want to say Greg something, but I don't think it is. Or Jones or Jonesy or something or other. I don't freaking know. That pisses me off. But anyway, they're saying, well, maybe they have the Bears on the right track. The Bears, Caleb Williams is looking better. And no, that's not it. The Raiders gave them that. The Raiders shit the bed, and it pisses me off. And it should piss you off as a Raider fan. Again, it really should piss you off. I don't know what's more frustrating, that debacle in Washington last week or this past week, the scene in Vegas. Half the stadium were probably more than half were Bear fans. So that's a bummer. But I get it. I really do. I get it. I mean, with the prices of tickets for the Las Vegas Raider games, for the games at Allegiant Stadium, and for the product that the Raiders are putting out there, whatever, resell, get as much as you can for them. It's terrible. It's terrible to say, but that's what it looks like now. Late in the fourth quarter, as the Raiders were going for the game-winning drive, Colton Miller got hurt. The high ankle sprain. It looks like he might be out for a few weeks. I wouldn't be too surprised if he's out until the bye. So I think I have the schedule right here. So let me pull the schedule up. So we have the Colts, Titans, Chiefs, and then the bye. So that'd be October 26th. So you got 3 weeks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him until after the bye. That's my thought. A high ankle sprain. Why push it? You have Stone Forsythe. That's hard for me to say right now. Stone Forsythe. He'll be probably stepping in, it looks like, for Colton Miller. And you also have Charles Grant as the backup tackle of the rookie. Caleb Rogers is the rookie guard. And so I'd imagine they're going to go with Stone Forsythe. That's a Pete Carroll guy, came from Seattle. They just picked him up during training camp there. Uh, so we'll see what happens. He's one. I guess he came in uh, the week before against Washington. I don't think. Trying to think. I don't remember seeing him at all Sunday. But so that's who I'd imagine that they're going to be going with, Stone Forsythe, and we'll see how much of a difference that makes for our offensive line. The look as well as they did, much improved, especially with JPJ back in there, and Dylan Parham. I thought he opened up some massive holes. Big props to Dylan Parham. I was ripping his ass on here last week after that Commanders game, and rightfully so. He was terrible. The whole offensive line was terrible last week, and particularly Dylan Parham and DJ Glaze. But Dylan Parham this week looked really good. He opened up some really nice running lanes for Ashton Genty, and did a hell of a job. Jordan Meredith as well, and of course Jackson Powers Johnson. That middle of the offensive line did really well. So it was much improved. It looked very good, and I'd imagine that's what we're going to see moving forward. And if I have to hear Pete Carroll talk about a competition again between Alex Kappa and JPJ this week, I'm going to flip my shit. I'm going to flip my shit if I have to hear him say it again. Jackson Powers Johnson, that's his job. And there is no competition. Alex Kappa should not see the field again unless there's an injury. That's the only way that man sees the field again. On the offensive line, I should say. Maybe some sort of field goal unit or punt unit or what have you. But besides that, no. He should not see he should not see the turf at all. What else was there? Oh, and that's the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I've heard some other hosts talk about this already. But Pete Carroll preaches competition, competition this, competition that, and there was some speculation that one of the reasons why Jackson Powers Johnson was moved from center was because he said to Ashton Genty when he first laid foot into the Raiders facilities that, hi, I'm Jackson Powers Johnson. I'm your starting center. And, there was some speculation that rubbed some of the coaches the wrong way. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't think so, but you never know. You just never know. And that's one of the reasons why they moved him out of center to guard and keep, putting him into a competition with Alex Kappa. Now, with that being said, Chip Kelly has also come out and said publicly that he likes Jordan Meredith's body type at center. He says it reminds him of a Jason Kelsey, except for one's a Hall of Famer and one is not. I don't know. I don't know about that. When I look at Jordan Meredith, I don't see Jason Kelsey, but I don't know. A little bit of different body type, but I think I understand what he's saying. And he said when he sees Jackson Powers Johnson, he doesn't have your typical center body type. He's bigger, he's stronger, more brutish, more of a bully type player that you want a big body guy at guard. And so, but again, that makes a little bit of sense. But then my thought comes back to what's wrong with having the best player at that position. I don't give a shit what he looks like. I really don't. I don't care if Jackson Powers Johnson was 6'8", 450 pounds. If he was the best center we have, put him at center. Yeah, I don't understand it. I understand what he's saying with the body type, your prototypical look and all that stuff. But who gives a shit if he's your best center on the roster? Put him at center. I don't understand that part. I don't get it. And I don't know if that's an analytical thing that he's doing there. It's something that I don't really care about. I'm not a big analytical guy. Maybe some of the stuff I think is pretty neat, but that really deep dive into stuff, I'm not big into that. But I mean, you put the best player at their best position. If your best center is Jackson Powers Johnson, then he should be he should be the center. And I don't think anybody would have argued from the first 3 weeks that your best center was Jackson Powers Johnson. Now this past week, again, Jordan Meredith played decent to good. Jackson Powers Johnson played good at guard, so I wouldn't mess with it. But to kind of say that the reason Meredith is at center is because of the way he looks, it sounds stupid. It just sounds idiotic to me. The way Jackson Powers Johnson is at guard, because the reason he's there is because of the way he looks, the way he's built. It doesn't make sense. It's like saying a short receiver. Well, I'm going to put him in the backfield because he's short. He doesn't look like a receiver. Well, he looks like a cornerback, so I'm going to put him at cornerback. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it, but hopefully it works out. Hopefully it works out. And like I said, if they can continue to build off of what they did this past Sunday, again, it's against the Bears. It's against the Bears, but if they're able to build off of it, looking at Indianapolis, they're playing some pretty damn good ball right now, running the ball very good. But I'll get more into more of that at near the end of the week. So when I do my keys to victory, which I missed this past week, and I apologize for that. So the final drive, one of the things I want to touch on real quick, I thought Dylan Labe did a really good job returning that kick and getting the Raiders into position. They took the ball away up to the Raiders 42, to where they didn't need to go a super long distance just to get in the field goal range for the win. I feel like there was maybe 2.5 minutes maybe to go in the game. I could be wrong, but there wasn't much time left to go in the game. So you had to get close and keep pushing downfield. Basically, you get close, you chew up some of that clock, and then go from there. The Raiders start off by passing the ball a few times, and they're moving the ball up the field pretty good. Then they start running the ball, and it didn't get them anywhere. It didn't get them where they wanted, and I feel like it was 3rd and 2. I think it was third. It was 3rd and 2, and they decided to run Ashton Genty up the middle, and he got blown up. Nowhere to go. If he was able to get that first down, they could have wound the clock down even more, or maybe even try to push towards the end zone. And I did. The play call didn't make sense. I understood the play call, why you're calling a run there, but I feel like the call where it was ran, I feel like didn't make much sense to me. Why run it up the middle? I feel like most of Ashton Genty's success came, in between the guard tackle or outside the tackle. It didn't come, up the middle, behind the center or between the guards. So I wasn't sure why. I didn't understand that part of it. I didn't understand that call. Why not? If you're going to run the ball, fine. Why not take it outside? See what you can get. See if you can see if Genty can bust it outside. Maybe he can pick up 15, 20 yards, get you closer to the field goal. Maybe he gets out of bounds. Maybe there's still 40, 50 seconds left, and you could throw the ball a couple more times yet. But no. So we ran up the middle, and it got blown up. We go out for the field goal. Ultimately, it gets blocked, and looking, post-game press conferences, they said the Bears said that they were watching a lot of film on our long snapper, and they said he has a tell, something with the ball, like I guess right before he snaps, he kind of raises the ball a little bit. They read it. They were able to get a great jump off the corner. Nobody touched him, or barely touched him. I think it was when I watched it back a couple times. I think somebody put a hand on him. Not sure who it was, but didn't slow him down at all. He took a great angle, got to the ball, and put it in our faces. Well, I guess it did go forward, but still, it's inexcusable. And I'd have to think if we get that first down, we get the ball closer. I'd have to think maybe that doesn't happen because something further away. I don't know how long the field goal would have been from there. I don't remember exactly, but further away you are from the goalpost, you want a little bit of a lower angle. The closer you are, you can get a little bit up higher. So maybe if we get closer, maybe if it's like a 30 20, 25, 30-yard field goal, 35, 40-yard field goal. Maybe that angles up a little bit higher, and then he doesn't get a hand on it. Uh, but maybe because we're a little bit deeper, it was the kick was a little bit straighter just to get a little bit more depth on it, and maybe that's why he got blocked. I don't know. He got a lot of that ball, so I probably no matter where it was, it would have been blocked. But if and buts were candy and nuts, I don't know the rest of that saying. So all right, that's all I got to say about that, about this game. About all that nonsense. Just pissed off again. I hate being, I had a rough weekend with sports, and drop back and punt for me, man. Between the Mets, yeah, shit in the bed, pissing me off. The Raiders, shit in the bed, pissing me off. The Pitt Panthers, you know, they lose a tough one to Louisville, winning most of that game, and then losing it there. So tough weekend in sports for the old bat fry. I'm telling you what. I didn't watch a snap of the Monday Night Football games. Like I had enough sports for a little bit. I'm good. So yeah, that's all I have for today. So I'm going to do some. We got a comment here from Jason Downs. Uh, I'm over this past game. I'm more concerned about going forward. Yeah, I agree, and that's part of this show today is just looking back, and then my next show will be looking at the keys and looking forward to the Colts. But it's tough pill to swallow, and it's just so many years of losing to the Bears. It's just knowing that you're a better team than that. I think that's a tough part of it. But you're right. You got to move forward. You got to kind of let it go, leave it in the past, and just keep going. Just keep trudging forward and take the positives out of it. Like I said earlier, you take the positives and continue growing with it. You have to figure Geno's not going to throw 3 interceptions again against the Colts. For the love of, you better not throw 3 interceptions against the Colts. I don't know if I can handle that again. But you'd have to imagine he's going to protect the ball a little bit better. And that's the other thing on that final drive. You have to wonder if they're a little bit more conservative on that last drive because of Geno's struggles in that game. Did they not try to push the ball downfield because Geno was throwing interceptions? I'm not really sure. I'd have to imagine that came into play a little bit. 7-yard completion, 8-yard completion, stuff like that, where maybe you'd want to, look at, a little bit deeper downfield, taking it, but then he throws an interception. Then, everybody's looking at Chip. Why are you throwing it deep? Geno threw 3 interceptions already. So damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. But you have to figure that came into play a little bit. Compton Raider checking in. Compton Raider Nation, wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it had to come into play. It had to be part of it. But hopefully they don't go conservative against the Colts. Hopefully they come out here and tell Geno, listen, still take your shots, but maybe not, stare down Jacoby Myers. Maybe not stare down your receiver. Maybe look somebody off. Or, if you see 3 defenders on 1 receiver, maybe check it down or maybe go for a run. That could be that's something I would kind of push a little bit in practice. Put my arm around Geno, say, listen, Geno, I get it. All right. You want to make the big play. You're trying to, in front of the home crowd, trying to show them that, what you're worth and all that good stuff, but maybe not stare the receiver down and, maybe not thrown into the tight coverage like that. You had 3 or 4 Bears in one spot. Try to avoid that area. Could be. Compton Raider Nation says he's staring down receivers. Yeah, and I was watching back a couple podcasters breakdowns and stuff like that, and it's just so obvious when they then there's some guys online that do a great job breaking down a game film. I don't know how they get the game film and stuff like that, but they do a hell of a job. And the one dude was I should really write down their name so I can give them a shout out, but I don't know. But the one dude was showing just how obvious it was that Gino's just standing there staring at Jacoby. I think all three interceptions were stare downs to Jacoby. And it's you know, got to get out of that. Absolutely got to get out of that habit. We all want Jacoby to get the ball a lot. We all want Jacoby to have those big numbers. Eight receptions for 110 yards. We want that from Jacoby, but not to the point where you're forcing the ball to Jacoby. There's other guys. Where did Trey Tucker go this past week? Why are we only targeting Trey Tucker 2 times after he had a monster game against the Commanders? Like I don't get it. So I get Michael Mayer wasn't there, but he's not a big time receiver for us. He's an option, but where's Dante Thornton? He had that drop. I get it, but that was late in the game. Well, why are we not looking for him more often? Jack Besh, where's he at? We need to kind of start looking other ways. Start looking at other options. Jason says you can see Gino is uptight at home. He does look as though he is not just letting the play develop, but having a porous line will affect. Yeah, will affect his internal clock. Yeah, and I know a lot of people used to bust on Derek Carr for that, the happy feet and stuff. But Derek Carr got hit a lot, so I mean you can kind of understand, the nervousness. Like you're thinking, okay, a good offensive line, you have what 3-4 seconds, four whatever, something like that. With a bad offensive line, you're looking, 2 to 3. You're taking your 3-step drop or whatever, and they're already in your face, hands up in the air, whacking at your hands and stuff, and you're trying to get the ball out of there because you don't want to take a sack. You don't want to take a sack because you don't want the loss of yardage, but you also don't want your offensive line to look like shit either. So, yeah, and there was times where it felt like he was rushing, and he didn't have to. The Bears weren't getting an overwhelming type rush on him. There was a couple times he had to hurry a little bit, but there was a couple plays where I felt like he could have moved up in the pocket and just taken off too. And he did run the ball well. He had 4 carries for 31 yards. So it's a tough call with Gino. It's one of those things. He's not going to be a top 5 quarterback ever. Like I think everybody knows that he's not probably going to be a top 10 quarterback ever, but he's still a professional quarterback. And this is still stuff, starting professional quarterback. And this is still stuff that he needs to know. He needs to know better than to force that ball and to stare at the receiver. He's 34, 35 years old. He's been in the league for a long time. It should be second nature for him, but oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to say this name. Michalkill. That might be pretty close. Michalkill. Yeah, I think I got that right. Thanks for checking out the show. Otherwise, sorry if I butchered that name. One, it's pretty small on my screen. I don't have my glasses on. And two, that's hard to say. He says, stated over and over again on X before Gino was signed, how Gino has always had issues with staring at his receivers, got ridiculed for pointing that out. Problem his whole career. And so I haven't followed Geno Smith his whole career. I mean, I know he started with the Jets and being an East Coast guy. I've seen some Jets play, the Jets play and stuff like that. And it wasn't a great situation when he's with the Jets. They were kind of coming off those seasons, those really good seasons with Rex Ryan, the coach, and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of Butt Fumble's name. I can't think of it right now. Mark Sanchez, Dirty Sanchez there. They had those couple of years. They had a great defense, and their offense was okay. But the couple playoffs, getting close to the Super Bowl, and then finally they end up benching Sanchez and deciding to go with Geno after they draft Geno, and by that time the Jets were already on their downside, and so it didn't go well for Geno there, and he didn't look like he was ever going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I don't know exactly what changed from the Jets to Seattle. I know you know, made the most out of his opportunity there. But you know, one season doesn't make a career, and that's how I look at it. You look at his stats, and he had that one like breakout huge season, and the next two seasons were good to okay. You know, there you can see the interception amounts creeping up, creeping up, and creeping up, and that may very well because he's staring down his receivers. And you know, Seattle not known for always having a great offensive line, but you'd have to imagine it's better than what he has here now. But still, it's like quarterback 101. You know, you can't stare down your receiver. You just it's basics. So yeah, and yeah, I'm sorry that you were ridiculed on X, you know, for saying that. If I read that correctly or not, but it's yeah, it's obvious. You know, it's been obvious that the 2-3 interception games that he's had so far this year, 7 interceptions so far this season. It's obvious that he's staring down receivers. You know, particularly Jacoby Myers for some reason. You know, I get it. We all like Jacoby, but you know, settle down there, Slick. Foster covers checking in. What's up, Foster? Congratulations to your Bears. Foster does a Bears podcast. It was a bummer for my Raiders, and Foster, I don't like saying it, you know, but well, to you anyway, because you're you know, a great guy here, but I feel like the Raiders were the better team, and the Bears took it from them. You know, kudos to the Bears. It's all about the win. It's all about the numbers. You know, the scoreboard, and it doesn't matter how you get there. And it's a tough pill to swallow. Eddie Prather checking in. What's up, Eddie? Eddie says Genty came to play. Yeah, and he ran the ball hard, but he also got some push up front. So and then that was good to see. And then, of course, the fumble that he had there in the first quarter, there was no push up front. So the guy hit him as he's getting the ball, and obviously you can't do anything with that. And again, it looked like it was a miscommunication between Meredith and I don't know if it's Meredith and Parham or Meredith and Jackson Powers John. I think it was Meredith and Parham. It looked like it was a little bit of a miscommunication. Kind of see it just opened up. You know that the whole area there that that allowed the penetration just opened up. So I don't know what the hell happened. I don't think that was designed like that. Jason says Seattle, he had a good set of receivers. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Thank you, Jason Downs for bringing that up. In Seattle, he had a good set of receivers. DK's a large target. Yeah, between DK and the other guy, I'm so bad at name guys. I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names. But yeah, he had two receivers. DK being one, DK Metcalf, and and the other lad who shall go nameless for right now until 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock tonight. I'm sitting there and fucking name pops into my head. But anyway, there we go. Thank you, Eddie Prather, for saving my ass. Tyler Lockett. So yeah, so there we go. But yeah, two great receivers there in Seattle, and Jacoby Myers. I don't know if anybody calls Jacoby a great receiver. He's a very good receiver. He has great hands. He makes all the catches. But he's not a DK. I would say he's probably closer to a Lockett than a DK Metcalf. We don't have a DK Metcalf on the team, so that's where that's at too. Trying to remember who their tight end was. So I feel like they had a really good tight end up in Seattle as well, but I could be wrong. Eddie says Caleb didn't beat the Raiders. Gino beat the Raiders. Foster says you guys could have won 4 turnovers and barely win. Yes, and I like how you do the barely there. But again, like I said, I said about this in the opening of the show here. As a Raider, the battle cry, just win, baby. It doesn't matter how you get there. It's just win, baby. It doesn't matter if it's 25-24 or if it's 50-24. If you won and you threw 3 interceptions, it's still a win. If you won and you're running attack didn't get over 70 yards, you only carried the ball 2.7 yards per carry like the Bears did. It doesn't matter. It's still a win. It does not matter. A win's a win. It doesn't matter how you get there. So the Bears, you got to give them credit. They did their film study again. Again, watching the breakdowns online of the Bears secondary and what they did to Geno. You know, they baited him over and over and over again. Not only for those three interceptions, but a couple of the other incompletes as well. Just baiting him and waiting, and then of course the blocked field goal film study. Foster always says Geno pretty much cost Raiders the game. Yeah, they're big interceptions. Uh, I'm the school of thought where one play doesn't make a game, three plays a little bit closer to making the game. Three interceptions, that fumble, and then altering your play calling because of the three interceptions. And it wasn't just that last drive. You have to wonder if they did that at all the last few drives. And the other thing as well as the defense played, I feel like for as well as the defense played, I felt like the fourth quarter you can kind of see them starting to wear out a little bit. There was a couple third and longs uh, where they gave up a first and 20, and they gave up I think it was a 13-yard gain to make it 2nd and 7. It's like, come on, man. At least make it a little bit more harder. Hold those guys to a moderate gain, like maybe 5 yards or something like that. You can't give up 13 yards right away and make it a second and manageable. It's a tough pill to swallow. Foster says Jacoby's underrated. He is underrated by most team standards. By our standard, he's our number one, and so they're just force feeding him. They're trying to force feed him. I feel like, and is that maybe because Brock Bowers is also banged up a little bit? They don't want to call his number as much. I don't know. I don't think so. Looking at the amount of targets, Brock had 6 targets. Jacoby had 7, so it's pretty comparable. It's just I don't know where Trey Tucker went. That was one thing that really bothered me when I was looking back over it. And I didn't think about it while watching the game, but looking back at the stats, like where the hell was Trey Tucker at? Only 2 targets for Trey Tucker after last week. It didn't make sense. Saying in the offseason that you're going to get Trey Tucker more involved in this offense and 2 targets. It's like, man, that's not getting it done. Jason Downs says there was more than 3 interceptions that cost us the game. Yeah, I can list 5 other issues that put us in that position. Geno was a major factor, but there were mistakes galore. Yeah, and like I said, I'm a school of thought. 1 play doesn't make the game. 3 plays gets you a little bit closer to making the game, but that wasn't the whole story either. So yeah, you look at some drop passes. For the most part, like I said, the blocking was good. It wasn't great. It was better than it's been. It's probably the best it's been in all season. But there were times where they could have did a better job. They could have done a better job. There were some missed tackles. For as good as the defense played, Max Crosby interception off a tip pass, phenomenal there. There was also a couple plays where, again, I talked about this the last couple of weeks, where I feel like he loses contain too easily. He gets himself up the field too far, and it leaves too much space between the tackle and guard. And I seen that, I think, happen at least twice that I noticed in the game, and once actually happened on I think Caleb Williams ended up exposing that. He seen the opening, and Max went too high up the field, and Caleb Williams exposed it and ran for a decent gain. So, and that's the other thing the Raiders defense I thought did well. Again, holding Caleb Williams to not a whole lot of rushing yards. I want to say maybe he had 13 yards rushing. Maybe I think maybe his long was 12 yards off. I don't know how many carries. I don't remember exactly. So that's where we on. That's where we are for now. Move on. Like we were saying here in the comments, I think it was Jason said it. I think it was Jason. Was it Jason that said that? Moving on, or was it Compton Raider? No, it was Jason. Jason saying I'm more of a concern going forward. Yes, Jason said that about moving forward. That's what we got to do now. Erase it. It's done. It's over, and just move on now. We've got the Colts ahead of us. Colts doing a heck of a job this season. Like I said, later in the week, I'll talk Raiders Colts Foster says, have a great day, everyone. You too, Foster. Good luck the rest of the season, buddy. And I did make a bet at work. For some reason, there's a bunch of Bears fans at work. It's kind of weird because like I said, I'm Eastern Pennsylvania, and it's either you're an Eagles fan, a Steelers fan, or a Giants fan. Basically, you have a couple Commanders fans sprinkled in there, a light sprinkling of Jets fans, but just a pocket of Bears fans at work for some reason. But I did lose a hoagie bet, a sub, whatever you want to call it, to somebody. So I owe somebody a goddamn meat sandwich. Anyway, so moving forward to the Colts, I'll talk about that later in the week, and it's going to be a big game. It's going to be a big game. It'd be a great win if the Raiders are able to come out of that with a win somehow. They're going to need a strong effort from that defense, especially up front seven. So again, I'll talk about that. Foster says hoagie bet. Yes, a hoagie bet. Foster, so you're a Midwestern guy. Is it hoagie or sub where you're at? Or do you use both terms? I know here in Pennsylvania, I hear both terms a lot. I use them both all the time. I say sub, I say hoagie. I use them interchangeably. So, but I hear some people say no, it's a sub, it's a submarine they call them. And then it's like no, it's not. It's a hoagie. I'm like, what the hell's the difference? But all right, Foster says out there, sub. There you go. It's official. In Chicago, it's a sub. So, all right. I'm going to check out. That's all I have for today. I want to thank everybody for checking the show out. Foster, Jason Bowers, Compton Raider Nation, Eddie, and Michahalakil. Again, I can't say it. I'm going to put it up there again. Michahalakil. I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Thanks everybody for checking the show out. I appreciate it very much. Before I let these guys go, be sure to check Out of the Box Sports out on all social media platforms. On Facebook, it's Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. On X, it's Box Sports ENT. Once again, on X, it's Box Sports ENT. On YouTube, it's at OOT Box Sports. My YouTube channel is the Bat Fry Pods. Subscribe to both if you don't mind. That'd be awesome. And we got Jason Downs. Is that your X, Jason? That's Raiders First Downs. I like that. Raiders First Downs. Let me know. Is that your X? Is that YouTube or what you got going on there? I think it's probably YouTube because he's commenting through YouTube. I will check you out as soon as I get off here. I'm gonna subscribe to your channel. So that's his YouTube channel. Raiders First Downs. So it's RAIDERS First. That's the number 1 ST Downs DOWNS. Check him out, Jason Downs on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel as well. Like I said, Out of the Box Sports, OOT Box Sports, and of course mine is the Bat Fry Pods. So I don't think I have banners made up for that or not, to be honest with you. That's our Twitter handle here. My X for this show also is at SB_Lair_OOTBE. And there's the Bat Fry Pods for my YouTube. And there's the Out of the Box Sports stuff. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much. And until later this week, I'll get back on here and talk Colts. Just got 3 words to say. And I mean them every time I say them. Damn it, as much as it pisses me off, I mean it. Just win, baby. See you later.
Game on game strong, let's break the mold. Chasing the stories yet untold. Passion ignites like a blazing fire. Knowledge takes us higher, higher. Out of the box where the wild ones play. We see the game in Running stats with the in-between. A slam dunk thought, a touchdown mind. Out of the box every time. No limits, no change, no walls to climb.